Today we're going to talk about objective tools that match the brain-body experience or separate the brain-body experience in ways that leverage your ability to lean into life better, to feel better, literally, to just feel better about what you're experiencing, and believe it or not, to be able to control your emotions when that's appropriate. The fastest and most thoroughly grounded in physiology and neuroscience for calming down in a self-directed way is what's called the physiological sigh. There are compounds that are not prescription compounds that can modulate the stress system. And today, we're going to talk in particular about something that most often is called stress. Okay, so what is stress? We hear all the time that stress is bad. We hear people saying they're really stressed out. What is stress? Stress, at its core, is a generalized system. It wasn't designed for tigers attacking us or people attacking us. It's a system to mobilize other systems in the brain and body. It wasn't designed for one thing. And that gives it a certain advantage in taking over the state of our brain and body, but it also gives you, all of us, an advantage in controlling it because it's based on hardwired biological mechanisms, and there are hardwired biological mechanisms, meaning cells and chemicals and pathways and tissues that exist in you right now that require no neural plasticity that allow you to put a brake on stress. And so we're going to talk about those. So let's talk about the stress response. And by doing that, you will understand exactly why the tools I'm going to give you work. If you want to reduce the magnitude of the stress response, the best thing you can do is activate the other system in the body, which is designed for calming and relaxation. The fastest and most thoroughly grounded in physiology and neuroscience for calming down in a self-directed way is what's called the physiological sigh, S-I-G-H. What I'm talking about when I refer to physiological sighs is the very real medical school textbook relationship between the brain, the body, and the body as it relates to the breathing apparatus, meaning the diaphragm and lungs, and the heart. Let's take the hallmark of the stress response. The heart starts beating faster. Blood is shuttled to the big muscles of the body to move you away from whatever it is the stressor is, or just make you feel like you need to move or talk. Your face goes flushed, etc. There is, however, a way in which you can breathe that directly controls your heart rate through the interactions between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So stress response hits. You want to slow your heart rate down. What you want to do is, again, capitalize on this relationship between the body, meaning the diaphragm, and the heart and the brain. Here's how it works. When you exhale, the diaphragm moves up, which makes the heart a little bit smaller. It actually gets a little more compact. Blood flows more quickly through that compact space. The sinoatrial node registers that blood is going more quickly, sends a signal up to the brain, and the parasympathetic nervous system, some neurons in your brainstem, send a signal back to the heart to slow the heart down. So if you want to calm down quickly, you need to make your exhales longer and or more vigorous than your inhales. Now, the reason this is so attractive as a tool for controlling stress is that it works in real time. This doesn't involve a practice that you have to go and sit there and do anything separate from life. The physiological sigh is something that people naturally start doing when they've been crying and they're trying to recover some air or calm down, when they've been sobbing very hard, or when they are in claustrophobic environments. However, the amazing thing about this thing that we call the diaphragm, the skeletal muscle, is that it's an internal organ that you can control voluntarily. So this incredible pathway that goes from brain to diaphragm through what's called the phrenic nerve, P-H-R-E-N-I-C, phrenic. The phrenic nerve innervates the diaphragm. You can control anytime you want. You can double up your inhales or triple up your inhales. You can exhale more than your inhales, whatever you want to do. Such an incredible organ. And the physiological sigh is something that we do spontaneously, but when you're feeling stressed, you can do a double inhale, long exhale. Now I'm telling you to do a double inhale, exhale in order to calm down. And the reason is the double inhale, exhale, which is the physiological sigh, takes advantage of the fact that when we do a double inhale, even if the second inhale is sneaking in just a tiny bit more air, because it's kind of hard to get two deep inhales back to back, you do big deep inhale and then another little one sneaking it in, the little sacs in your lungs, the alveoli of the lungs, your lungs aren't just two big bags, but you've got millions of little sacs throughout the lungs that actually make the surface area of your lungs as big as a tennis court. It's amazing if we were to just spread that out. Those tend to collapse as we get stressed, and carbon dioxide builds up in our bloodstream, and that's one of the reasons we feel agitated as well. But when you do the double inhale exhale, the double inhale reinflates those little sacs of the lungs, and then when you do the long exhale, that long exhale is now much more effective at ridding your body and bloodstream of carbon dioxide, which relaxes you very quickly. When you're feeling stressed, the physiological sigh done just 1 to 3 times, so it would be double inhale, exhale, maybe just 2 times, will bring down your level of stress very, very fast. And as far as I know, it's the fastest way to accomplish that. Be aware that if you're going to use the physiological sigh or exhale emphasized breathing to calm down, that your heart rate will take about 20 to 30 seconds to come down to baseline. And you may need to repeat the physiological sigh a few times. There are compounds that are not prescription compounds that can modulate the stress system. And sometimes because of the way that life is, we just don't have the opportunity to control life and to control our response to stress. The 3 I want to focus on, and one that I think you need to be cautious about that I've mentioned before, include ashwagandha, L-theanine, and melatonin. Let's talk about melatonin first. Melatonin is a hormone secreted from the pineal in direct relationship to how much darkness you are in, not emotional darkness, but light suppresses melatonin. Melatonin helps you fall asleep. It doesn't help you stay asleep. I personally do not recommend supplementing melatonin because it's supplemented typically at very high levels, 1 to 3 milligrams or even more. That is an outrageously high dose. It also has a number of potentially negative effects on the reproductive axis and hormones there. The other is L-theanine. I've talked about L-theanine, which, provided it's safe for you, can be taken 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams about 30 minutes or 60 minutes before sleep. It can enhance the transition to sleep and depth of sleep for many people. It increases GABA, this inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain. It tends to turn off our forebrain a little bit or reduce the activity of our kind of thinking systems and ruminating systems, help people fall asleep. But theanine has also been shown for people that are chronically anxious or chronically stressed to significantly increase relaxation. It is known to have a minor effect on anxiety, but 8 studies have shown that. It definitely has a notable effect on stress. The other supplement that can be very useful is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is known to lower anxiety and cortisol. This is great. I mean, the opportunity for me anyway to be able to take something that can help me reduce my cortisol so that I don't get some of the long-term effects of stress. And I'm not going to take ashwagandha year-round. I would only do this if I was feeling like I wasn't managing my short and medium-term stress well. So I don't take it on a regular basis. I do take it when I'm in these times when things are particularly stressful. So social connection and some supplementation, of course, diet, exercise, sleep for long-term stress.